We talk a lot about transformation, right? In like the self-improvement world.
It's a huge topic.
We want to transform our careers, our bodies. But really, we're just talking about upgrades. You
Yeah.
know, you get a better job, you learn a new skill. You're still you, just version 2.0.
Right. It's renovation, not a complete reconstruction.
Exactly. But nature doesn't do renovations. Nature looks at a creature and says, okay, for this next part, I'm going to need you to completely dissolve your body and build a new one.
It's the difference between remodeling your kitchen and just burning the whole house down to build a skyscraper.
That is a terrifying but very accurate image. And that's why today we're doing a deep dive into one of the most, I think, extreme biological engineering projects on the planet.
We're talking about the life cycle of the frog.
A classic for sure, but one that I think it's really oversimplified.
It does.
So to ground us, we're using a specific guide. It's a document called lifecycleofafrog.pdf. It's pretty simple. A cyclical diagram, some green arrows, 4 images, and some very specific text.
And our mission today is to use that simple map to explore the really complex territory it represents. To look at these 4 stages, adult, egg, tadpole, and froglet, and just appreciate how biologically wild it is to get from one to the other.
Because it's not really one animal, is it? It's almost like 2 completely different animals just stitched together by this very risky transition period.
That's a great way to put it.
So let's start where the document starts, or, well, where it ends. It's a cycle, so it's hard to tell.
Let's start at the top. Visually, that's the adult frog.
The finished product.
Right.
The image shows this green frog, and it's in that classic crouch. Legs folded, head up. It looks terrestrial, like it belongs on land.
And the text right next to it gives us the prime directive for this stage. It just says, adult frog lays eggs in water.
In water. That's the key constraint, isn't it?
It is the defining constraint of all amphibians. The name amphibian literally means double life. So even though this adult frog is hopping around on land, it's biologically tied to the water for reproduction. It can't completely sever that link.
So the adult lays its eggs, and we follow the big green arrow down to the right, the next stage, eggs.
And what do you see in that image?
Well, it's interesting because it's not one single egg. It's a whole cluster. There's this plant stem in dark water, and this whole mass of clear spheres with little black dots inside is attached to it.
And the text calls this a spawn of eggs.
Spawn. That word feels very large scale.
It is, and that's a key biological strategy. It's what ecologists call R-selection. You don't make one perfect protected baby like a person or an elephant.
You flood the zone.
You flood the zone, exactly. You make hundreds, thousands of potential offspring, and you just assume that most of them are not going to make it. It's a numbers game.
A bet against the odds.
Precisely.
But then the text does something I found really interesting. It shifts its focus. It says, then it becomes a single egg.
That line really stood out to me, too. It's a deliberate choice.
It's almost like a camera zooming in, you know?
It has to. You can't tell the story of a spawn. A spawn is just a statistic. It's biomass. But a single egg, now that's a life. The document is forcing us to see that the journey is individual, even if the strategy is collective.
We're following the one that survived, the one lottery ticket that actually hit.
Exactly. And think about how vulnerable that one egg is. It has no hard shell like a bird's egg. It's just a jelly membrane, completely permeable to the water around it.
So if the water's polluted, the egg is polluted. If the pond dries up...
The egg dries up. It's total exposure. The embryo inside is in a race against time to build a body that can move before something eats it or its home disappears.
And when it wins that race, we hit phase 2. We follow the arrow to the bottom right. The text says, a tadpole gets out of the egg.
I like the phrasing there, gets out. It's not passive, it's an escape.
A jailbreak. And the thing that breaks out, I mean, look at the image. It is not a frog. If you didn't know better, you'd call it a fish.
It is, essentially. The diagram shows it so clearly. Dark, elongated body, a big tail, and, importantly, no limbs at all. It's built for the water.
The text here is a little weird. It says, tadpole grows tails, plural. But the image, I mean, you only see one tail.
Right, and that's probably just a bit of odd phrasing in the source. But functionally, that one tail is everything. It's not like a dog's tail for balance.
No, this is the engine.
It's the entire engine, a massive muscle built for wiggling back and forth. It's pure hydrodynamics.
So we have this creature that breathes water, lives in water, swims like a fish. Why change? I mean, if you've perfected this swimming machine, why does nature go, okay, time to scrap all that and build a jumper?
That's the million-dollar evolutionary question. And the answer is resources. The water is crowded. It's full of predators and competition. But the land, that's a new frontier.
Different food, different places to hide.
Exactly. The metamorphosis is an adaptation so that the kids don't compete with the parents for food.
So the adults eat the bugs on land and the kids eat the algae in the pond.
Generally, yeah. It splits the family business into two separate branches so they don't bankrupt each other.
Smart. But to get to that land branch, you have to go through the transition. And this is where the document and the biology gets really wild. We're moving to the bottom left of the circle.
Oh.
The frog.
The froglet, it sounds cute, but this is the crisis point.
The image is, well, it's a mess. It's a mashup. It's got the frog's body color. It's getting bumpy. It has hind legs. But it's still dragging this huge tadpole tail behind it.
It's a creature caught between two designs. And the text is pretty brutal about it. It says, then tadpole loses its tail and grows limbs.
Okay, let's unpack loses its tail, because my first thought is it just, falls off like a lizard.
That's what most people think, but the reality is so much more efficient and, frankly, a little disturbing. The tail doesn't fall off.
What happens to it?
It gets consumed.
Consumed, like it eats its own tail.
Internally, yes. There's a process called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. The cells in the tail get a chemical signal to basically dismantle themselves. They break down into raw nutrients, proteins, fats.
No way.
And those nutrients are then shipped through the bloodstream to fuel the massive construction project of growing the legs.
Hang on, so you're saying the frog is cannibalizing its own childhood body?
To build its adult body.
Yes,
See?
to build its adult body.
That's exactly what's happening. The tail literally becomes the legs. It's the ultimate recycling program.
That is both horrifying and incredibly clever.
Nature hates waste. Why throw away all that good protein?
But this froglet stage, looking at it, it seems so awkward. It has legs that want to kick, but it's dragging this tail. The body is getting bulky, so it's not a good swimmer anymore.
You've just hit on why this is the most dangerous period in a frog's life. As a tadpole, it was a great swimmer. As an adult, it'll be a great jumper. As a froglet,
It's bad at both.
it's bad at both. It can't outswim a fish and it can't outhop a bird. It's stuck in the middle.
It's the awkward teenage years.
Extremely. And it's not just the outside. Think about the inside. The tadpole had gills. The adult needs lungs. The froglet has to make that switch.
So there's a point where it has to literally stop breathing water and start breathing air.
It has to come to the surface.
Yeah.
If it stays down too long, it grounds. If it stays out too long, it dries out. It is walking the tightest of biological tightropes.
The diagram gives the froglet a whole quarter of the circle. I guess that's appropriate, given how much is going on there.
It deserves the space. This is the main event. This is where you take an aquatic herbivore and rebuild it on the fly into a terrestrial carnivore. You have to rebuild the skull, dissolve the gills, grow the lungs, recycle the tail, and build the legs.
All while it's still alive and moving. It's like trying to rebuild a 747 while it's in midair.
And try not to crash.
So assuming our froglet survives this impossible rebuild, we follow the arrow up the left side, back to the top.
And the text just says, then it becomes adult frog.
It sounds so final,
Yeah.
so conclusive.
It is. It marks the end of that instability. The tail is gone, the legs are powerful, the skin is ready for the air.
And we're right back where we started, looking at the green frog.
But look at that phrasing again. The cycle closes instantly. Adult frog lays a spawn of eggs.
Yeah, it doesn't give the adult much time to celebrate becoming an adult, does it?
The biological purpose of that adult form is really just to be a delivery vehicle. The tadpole gathers energy. The froglet is the transition, the adult. The adult is a mobile launch pad for the next generation of eggs.
That's interesting because I always think of the frog as the main character. It's the frog life cycle. The tadpole and the egg are just the prequel.
And that's a very human way of looking at it. We identify with the adult form. But from a genetic perspective, the frog is just the egg's way of making another egg.
Whoa. Okay, that completely flips the script.
Think about that text we talked about. Then it becomes a single egg. The egg is the constant. The body, the frog, is just a temporary container that lets the genetic material move from one pond to another.
So the spawn of eggs is the real protagonist here.
In the grand cyclical scheme of things.
Yeah.
Yes. The frog dies. The egg line continues.
That makes the cycle part of this diagram, the green arrows, feel so much more important. It's not just a sequence, it's an infinite loop.
An infinite and very fragile loop. If those arrows stop, the species ends.
We talked about the internal recycling, which is just incredible. Does the document give us any idea of how long all this takes?
No, it's silent on time, which is pretty common for these guides. It compresses everything. In reality, the egg phase might be days. The tadpole phase could be weeks, even months.
And the froglet transition.
That's usually the fastest part.
Why?
Because of that vulnerability we mentioned. You do not want to hang around in the awkward can't swim, can't jump phase. Natural selection pushes for speed. Get through the renovation as fast as you can.
So it's a frantic sprint to adulthood.
It absolutely is.
I'm looking at that adult frog again. It's sitting so still.
Yeah.
But now, that stillness feels different. It feels like potential energy.
It's resting on the other side of that impossible journey. Out of that entire spawn of eggs, hundreds, maybe thousands of siblings, that one frog might be the only one that made it all the way back to the top of the circle.
The sole survivor?
It survived predators. It survived the internal digestion of its own body. It learned to breathe air. And now it sits there, ready to start the whole incredible process over again.
It gives you a new respect for it. It's not just some creature in a pond. It's a veteran.
A masterpiece of adaptability.
So when we look at this whole source, this life cycle of a frog.pdf, what's the big takeaway for you? What's the core message?
For me, it's the concept of fluid identity. We think of living things as fixed. A cat is a cat. A human is a human. This document shows us that identity can be completely fluid. The tadpole and the frog are the same individual, but they share almost no physical traits.
Right. If you didn't know, you'd swear they were two different species.
It forces you to ask, what is the self? The frog teaches us that to grow, you literally have to disassemble who you were. You have to lose the tail to get the legs.
You can't hoard your past adaptations if you want to survive in a new environment.
You can't. Holding onto the tail would kill the froglet. It has to let it go.
That's a powerful idea. Biology as philosophy.
The best biology always is.
And what about that single egg versus the spawn?
I think that's key too. It reminds us that while nature operates on this massive scale populations, ecosystem success is ultimately determined at the individual level. That one single egg that survives the filter, that's the one that carries the torch forward.
The power of one. Frog edition.
In a way, yes.
Well, we've gone a long way from a simple PDF, from mass spawning to self-cannibalism to the philosophy of the self.
That's what happens when you really follow the arrows.
The next time I see a tadpole in a creek, I'm going to see it very differently. I'll see a little machine frantically trying to build landing gear before it runs out of runway.
And while it eats itself into a new shape,
I will try to forget that part, but thank you. This has been a fascinating look at something we all thought we knew, the life cycle of a frog. It's not a circle on a page. It's a high-stakes obstacle course of reinvention.
and it's happening in ponds all around us every spring.
Thanks for taking us through this deep dive.
My pleasure. It's great to unpack it.
And to you listening, thanks for sticking with us through the metamorphosis. Keep an eye on the water, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.